Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy.
And I'm Lucas.
And welcome back to Patched, and today we're going to be reviewing the Roccat Kone Pro Air. So this mouse is going for 130 bucks. It's pretty expensive. It's on the higher end as far as price goes. Of course, it is a wireless mouse though, so you're getting wireless capabilities. So if you guys do want to get it, we'll leave a link in the description box. But let's get it started off with the shape of the mouse, and we got an ergonomic shape.
Yeah, and this one was actually shocking. I feel like this was one of the first ergonomic shapes that's come out in a while that I've actually been comfortable with. Like most of the ergonomics, like I can get used to it, but I still don't prefer it. But this shape was actually really, really nice in the hand. Felt really nice. So the actual ergonomics of the ergonomic mouse worked out well, and it worked out well with a bunch of grip styles as well. I felt like. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I thought it felt great as well. I mean, palm grip feels amazing. I have a small to medium sized hands, and palm grip still feels really, really nice. My fingers don't really hang off the mouse either. And then, you know, when I play games, I usually fingertip grip. So fingertip also felt pretty nice. I mean, it is a little bit high, especially here in the middle of the mouse. So usually I'm used to like more lower profile mice, especially like in the XM1 that's like geared towards like, you know, claw grip, but still this felt really nice fingertip. I would say if you use a palm grip, if you have a large size hand to a medium size hand, you should be fine. If you have a smaller size hand, it might be a little too big, but if you fingertip grip, I feel like most hand sizes should be okay, but just be careful if you have a small sized hand.
Yeah, I mean the shape is definitely a little jarring because it looks like one of those ergonomic mice that's kind of just like, it's got that big arch in there, and it's got this big sort of area for your thumb to go on, which just kind of looks very daunting if you're into like the small mouse, like you're a Model O- user or something like that. It definitely, it looks like it's just a huge mouse, but it feels so good in the hand. And I have a larger hand. I tend to use a claw grip, but sometimes I'll use palm when I'm browsing on my desktop, or in certain just casual single player games, I'll use a palm grip as well. And it's just very, very comfortable to use. So shape, I give them the edge there. I mean, that's amazing. Shape's awesome.
We both love the shape. As far as the wireless capabilities go, let's go over that first. So a nice thing about this mouse is that we have a little dingle here, a little dingle. But you can store away the dingle inside of the mouse, which is pretty nice. So if you're on the go, if you're a professional player and you gotta travel or whatever, you got your dingle storage right here, right? Yeah. You just pull that out, just plug it into your computer, and you're good to go. One thing that kind of sucks though is that the cable kind of just has to like hang on your desk a little bit, because when you have to charge the mouse, it kind of sucks. But Lucas, what is this?
USB-C, baby. USB-C.
Yes, USB-C.
I love it.
Yeah, Lucas loves it. You connect it right here if you want to charge the mouse.
But yeah, it definitely feels like it needs that little dongle that goes on your desk. So that way you can just leave it up on your desk for when you need to charge it. For me, I find myself running very low on ports because I have a lot of mice plugged in at a time. So it's kind of nice just having that sort of extra just laying around on top of your desk. So if you need to unplug it, plug the mouse in, charge it. Which, by the way, with the charging, 10 minutes of charging can get you 5 hours of gameplay, which is what they state on their website, which is really impressive. But it's something that a lot of wireless mice have. I mean, the batteries in there aren't too big, so it doesn't really take a whole lot to charge it. And assuming you're not using any RGB or anything like that on here, which was there even any?
There is.
Oh yeah. Which, assuming you're not using the RGB on there, you're gonna get the most out of the battery life.
Yes, and it says that there's 100+ hours of battery without RGB, but we're guessing that's just for Bluetooth use. And you can change that, right? So if you have a work computer, you can connect this mouse via Bluetooth, and then once you want to start gaming, you don't want to have any latency, you can switch to the 2.4 gigahertz connection, which is pretty cool. Also, this cable is paracorded, which is pretty damn nice. If you do end up charging and you're playing with it and you're playing with the mouse while it's charging, you don't really have any issues with the cable. So that's a pretty nice touch.
So as far as weight goes, they state on their website that this is 75 grams. So we're gonna see right now, and this is without the dongle in there.
Ooh, it's saying it's 72 grams, so it's actually better than advertised, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually a nice weight. It actually feels really weird because it's actually a mouse that kind of fills your hand. You know, it's a pretty large mouse as far as like the overall arch goes. So it fills up your hand pretty nicely, and you feel like, oh, it's kind of like not bulky feeling, but like a little bit larger. But then you feel the weight and you're like, yo, that's actually a very, very light mouse. And I feel like it complements the mouse very, very nicely. Also, it doesn't feel cheap at all. I guess we'll go over that in build quality, but it just feels really nice as far as the weight goes.
Yeah, I think definitely delving into build quality a little bit as far as the weight goes, with that 75 grams in there, I feel like even though I know people are definitely fiends for having lower weight mice, I feel like if it was any lighter than this, or if it was like a 60 gram or a 68 gram mouse, it would start to feel cheap at that point.
Exactly.
But this definitely feels like a quality mouse. And the finish on there is another thing that's nice, but we'll get into that in a bit.
Yes. And then I guess from weight, we'll go on to the skates. We got pure PTFE skates. This feels still very, very quick and very smooth and very nice. The skates, you know, you got one large skate here on top, one large skate here on the bottom, and one surrounding the sensor, and it feels really, really nice. Very, very smooth.
Yeah, and they are rounded along the edges, which sort of gives it a nice feel across different mouse pads, so you sort of get a more consistent experience with it. As far as the skates go, I didn't really have a whole lot of trouble with them. I feel like a PTFE is a PTFE skate is a PTFE skate. You know, like it's all kind of the same. It's tomato, tomato. They're using their Owl Eye sensor in this guy for the 2.4 gigahertz, and now it's based off of a PAW 3370, and it feels fast, very responsive. I don't feel any latency. I wasn't really having any hiccups in games. And I was playing mainly Valorant with this guy once I got used to the shape, of course, which did not take very long because I was going from a G Pro X Superlight, which is sort of a similar shape. It feels like the ambidextrous version of this mouse almost.
All right, moving on to the switches, right? So they're using Titan optical switches for this mouse, and it actually feels pretty nice. It has a pretty tactile click, but there is a little bit of post travel, which I don't like as much. It makes the overall click feel a little mushy in my opinion, but overall the click feels nice and I had really no issues with it.
I mean, the switches, I'm a big fan of their Titan optical switches, and I'm not usually a fan of optical just for the sake of having optical switches, but the deal with these is they're optical switches that actually feel really nice to use, because there's some optical switches out there that are just really kind of mushy and just bland. These ones have that nice tactile click in there, and even though they do still have a little bit of post travel there, and a decent amount of pre-travel, they feel really nice. I feel like that tactile, really nice click. I mean, just like you can just tell. You can tell that's a hearty click.
Exactly. And as far as the scroll wheel goes, the scroll wheel has nice tactile steps. It's actually pretty large as well. I mean, it's like very wide, and it's easy to press as well. So the scroll wheel, they did a good job. And as far as the side buttons go, the side buttons are very, very large and they protrude out like crazy, you guys. So it's super easy to press. It feels like any other side button though. It has a nice tactile click, but it is a little mushy because there is just so much post travel, but that's like in every side button, you know? So as far as the buttons and switches go, the Kone Pro Air, they have really nice switches.
Yeah, I mean, those side buttons though, like, okay, so this is mouse 1 and 2. And then if you listen to the side buttons, they're like, there's some girth to that.
Yes.
There's some like, it's like powerful to click.
Yeah.
And they're super large, super protruded. Actually, this one shocked me. I really like the side buttons on them, so I approve.
All right, as far as the build quality goes, they actually did a really nice job. I like the finish on there. It reminds me a lot of like the G Pro Wireless. It's actually very, very similar to it. It has a really smooth finish, but it also grips your hand very, very well. It does pick up a little bit of like, you know, oil and fingerprint marks, and it's really easy to see with this like black color. But other than that, it's a nice finish.
Yeah, I think it's like the black but translucent to reveal that honeycomb design that's underneath, which I'm very glad they did that underneath. Very sick of the honeycomb design. So this is a nice switch up. Yeah, definitely feels a lot like the Logitech sort of finish on there, where it's nice and grippy, but this one I would say shows a little bit more fingerprints. So if that's something you're worried about, you might need a microfiber wipe around just to wipe off the fingerprints off your mouse. They've got this sort of like rib design along the side to help with grip on your thumb, and it does a good job. It's not actually like rubber or anything. It's kind of the same material, just with ribs in it, and it does a really good job. And even the way it's sort of concave and like built around having a thumb there, it makes it really nice for all grip styles. So it's just a really, really comfortable mouse. Build quality feels amazing. It feels like they really put a lot of time into this.
And there's really no rattling inside of the mouse, and also there's really no problems with the mouse 1 and 2 being like very, very shaky when you press when you press the buttons, you know? As far as the RGB goes, I really like the RGB, especially for a wireless mouse, right? So the most important aspect for a wireless mouse is the battery life. And you don't want the battery life to be very, very short. So to counteract that, companies usually put like very little RGB in their mouse, or like a little too much. I feel like the Model O is like a little too much, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's got a little too much.
Yeah, and then the G Pro is like there's really none, right? But I feel like Roccat balanced it out, and you know, there's RGB here on the mouse 1 and 2 buttons, and it looks really cool. Like, so when you click, they're actually different colors, and you can program it in their software to change as you click. So I feel like that looks really dope. And you can also see the honeycomb design as well. Look at that, kind of sick.
Yeah, I like the RGB. It's subtle yet effective. So if you're into that and you want to keep it on, you can actually still see it through your hand being on the mouse, which is nice. They didn't put it where your palm covers. It kind of reminds me of like a little bit of an Extrafy style where they would go around the front of the mouse instead of the back where your palm covers it. So very unique style there. I like it.
Yes, so wrapping things up, for 130 bucks, I mean, that's like normal pricing for a very, very high quality wireless mouse nowadays, right? I feel like, you know, the shape is amazing. The clicks feel great. The quality is there. We had no issues with latency or anything with the wireless connection, and the skates are really nice and very smooth. So, I mean, there's really nothing that we don't like about this mouse. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's just a great mouse. And the thing is, I was going to suggest toward the end of this video, right? If you like high profile mice, maybe you go with this. If you like low profile mice, maybe veer away. But at the same time, you usually like low profile mouse, but this one actually was different as well.
Yeah.
And I'm usually a high profile mouse guy, but I usually don't like ergonomic mice, and I still love this mouse. So I really think this mouse is worth a shot for everybody.
Yes, and it's not crazy as far as the ergonomic shape goes. If you guys see, most ergonomic mice, they have a crazy curve, right? It's still relatively flat, but it gives you a very nice concave shape here where your thumb can rest. So it's more like a ambidextrous shape, but with like the pros of an ergonomic shape, you know? So yeah, I mean, I feel like most people will enjoy it except for people who have like smaller hands. So anyways, again, if you guys do want to get it, we'll leave a link in the description box. We totally approve. This is a great mouse, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you in the next one.